You're listening to the International Moving Podcast, your guide to moving to another country, brought to you by SDC International Shipping, LA's finest. An international move is exciting. It's a time to start over, establish a new business maybe, reestablish family ties, or retire where your budget will do more for you. Please enjoy today's episode, and if you have any questions about your international move, give us a call at 888-779-3962. That's 888-779-3962. All right, welcome back, everyone. This is Jim for SDC International Shipping. It's Monday again. Thanks for joining me for today's podcast episode. Today's topic is going to be a little bit different because today, instead of talking about international moves, we're going to be looking at interstate moves. Interstate moving services is something that SDC International Shipping used to offer in the past, and we've decided to reintroduce this service today because there's just so many people. We're going to focus on California today for an example of this. There's many Californians looking to relocate for various reasons to other states inside of the United States. Long distance moves. We're talking about maybe moving from California to Texas or California to Florida or even California to Oregon, wherever it is that you're deciding to move from and to. We're here to make sure that the interstate move is as smooth and as stress-free as our international moves. And we have all of the pieces in place to offer this service, and so it was decided to reintroduce this service now because there's just so many people, so many Californians, for example, looking to relocate within the United States. Now, we don't offer intrastate moves. An intrastate move might mean if you're moving from Northern California to Southern California or within the state, whereas intrastate moves, we're talking about moving out of state to another state. And so we have an experienced team in place, the people that make this and that cater specifically to those looking to relocate in the United States. And SDC brings the expertise and the professionalism that is applied to an international move to an interstate move, and so that you can have a great experience. You know, it's funny, I remember somebody talking to me a while back, mentioning the fact that they said it was too bad that SDC International Shipping didn't move people from one state in the United States to another state because they'd been listening to this podcast and they enjoyed it and they were confident after reading the reviews that SDC was a great company, but they weren't making an they weren't making an international move at the time. They were moving from West Coast to East Coast. So now, if that's something that you're looking to do, you don't have to look any further because SDC International is offering that as well. So why choose SDC International Shipping now for an interstate move? Well, you know, if you're here in California as a Los Angeles-based company, SDC knows California inside and out. We have a deep understanding of the state's logistics, and that helps us provide efficient and reliable moving services tailored to your needs. Also, just like the international move, we offer personalized moving plans. So every move is different, including those that are interstate moves. And so we're now offering customized services to fit your specific requirements. Whether you're moving to a small apartment or a large family home, we have the right solutions for you. Also, the secure and reliable packing is available for your interstate move. As always, your belongings are valuable to you, and they'll be treated with the utmost care. The professional packing services, the modern transportation fleet ensure that your items will arrive safely at their destination. Of course, storage solutions also, if you need to store some of your belongings before or after your move, those are available, and there are options to fit whatever your timeline may be. Also, competitive rates. Even interstate moves can be expensive, but SDC offers competitive pricing without compromising on the quality of the service that you're going to get, the quality of the packing materials. None of those things will be compromised. and SDC will provide clear upfront quotes with no hidden fees. And nationwide coverage, so no matter where in the U.S. you're moving to, SDC International Shipping has the resources and the network already in place to get you there on time and within a budget. And so this is just so interesting because people have been talking about this for years. People are leaving the state of California for a lot of reasons, but one of them is just a more affordable lifestyle. So when we're talking about people, we're talking about individuals, we're talking about families, even businesses. And California is a beautiful state, but it's just difficult depending on an individual's circumstances sometimes in the time that we're in today to navigate the situation successfully. And so as a result, Californians are drawn to places like Texas that has a very strong job market, more affordable housing, I guess you might say, no state income tax. And so SDC makes moves to cities like Austin and Dallas and Houston. Those type of moves are totally hassle-free. My sister-in-law has relocated also. She relocated from her and her husband, and they relocated from Chicago, a suburb of Chicago, to Arizona. And that's another location that people prefer because of the lower cost of living, the beautiful desert landscapes. Arizona is and has been a top choice for those leaving California. Now, of course, if you go online and you get into this whole topic of interstate moves, where people are going to, then of course you're going to see some negatives also, whether we're talking about Texas, Arizona, Nevada, Florida, Oregon, Washington, all of these places. I'll talk about those in a moment also. But people are complaining that they're overbuilding there, that everything is too expensive there. But, it is kind of relative. I do have to say that I know that many states, Florida included, is a lot more expensive today than it was 5 years ago. And that's due to inflation. It's due to costs of insurances, all of those things. If you're living here in the United States, you know exactly what I'm talking about. There are a lot of people. Now, depending on your age and depending on how well established you are, you may be having a completely different experience than other people are. But for the most part, we're talking about the people who are in their 20s and 30s. For the most part, those groups are struggling with the high cost of living. Other groups, maybe in their 40s to their 50s also, but maybe a little bit less so. Then we move into people who are in retirement age, and depending on where you are financially, that has a lot to do with the type of experience that you have in your retirement years. And then, and I've seen this over and over again, and this goes into the topic of moving because when people are older, of course, they're looking to maybe downsize a little bit. Their children are grown adults. Maybe they have grandchildren at that time. But the fact that people are living longer today puts a new caveat into the situation because you have people that their savings runs out at, when they start reaching their 80s and their 90s if they're still living. And a lot of time they'll need support from other people in their family if possible because there's simply no money left and they can't go back to work. And that's a sad story also. So you have people on, as far as age goes, at the two extremes, the young adults and the very old adults that can be particularly affected in what we have today with inflation and the high cost of living. And so for somebody who's in either of those situations, they may find that things like housing isn't that much better in a Texas or an Arizona or a Nevada, where somebody who is maybe in their working years, professional prime or nearing it or just on the other side of it. I don't know how you determine what side you're on, but I guess looking back makes it easier to do than when you're in the middle of it. But if you're moving from a place where you're spending, I don't know, let's say $8,000 a month on housing, and you go to a place where you're only spending half of that, I guess it's all relative. I guess you look at it like, well, this is much better than where we came from, even though to maybe a lot of people, both of those are just are out of reach. So Arizona is one of those places where recently I went online, and then when my sister-in-law moved there, I guess 4 years ago now, 5 years ago, she was just, I mean, what she paid for her house that she lived in Chicago versus what she paid for in Arizona, I mean, it was the difference like night and day. And so they got in at the right time. And she's also still working. She's a professional. So her experience there is a little bit different maybe than some others. But I guess we could say that for everyone. But still, when you compare Arizona to California, a place like Phoenix or Tucson or anywhere else in the state is, it's maybe like having a little more relief when it comes to finances. That will be your experience. Nevada is another example. Las Vegas has long been attractive to many Californians because of its close proximity, entertainment options, no state income tax. So SDC offers services to there, of course. Florida is another one that we can talk about. I can talk about that maybe with a little more expertise than some of the other places because I've been here for a long time. And yes, I've seen the differences of prices in housing and insurance. I've lived it firsthand. But Florida remains still a very popular destination because depending on where you are in the state, you may be in a part of the state. Now, back in the 90s, you couldn't say this about Florida because it wasn't seen as a popular hurricane destination, I guess you would call it, until after Hurricane Andrew in the 90s. And then through the years, if you look at it, and I did the math roughly, it seems like about every 5 years a major storm will make landfall here. And so whether we're talking about the Miami or Fort Lauderdale area, which is very expensive, but that is one of the places that has been in an evacuation location for a number of years. And then again, in the Gulf of Mexico, if you watch this on TV, you see that there are many hurricanes that come into the Gulf. Some of them go right up and hit the Panhandle and the Louisiana area. Some of them veer off to the left if you're looking at the map and hit Texas. Others hit the lower southwest part of the state. And so if you're living in those areas, yeah, I mean, it can be very stressful after a while, especially after those areas have been hit multiple times over the years. The cost of insurance is very high there. And so you need to, but yet there's other places in the state. For example, Manatee County is a good example of this, where according to the tribes that lived there when the settlers came down here, they told them that the area now known as Manatee County was one of the safest areas in the state and hadn't been hit by a major storm for hundreds of years. And that's true today. Matter of fact, when I came here, I came to Manatee County and I heard that story. Manatee County is below Tampa. It's on the west coast of Florida. It's below Clearwater. It's just right above Sarasota. And so it's sandwiched between Palmetto and Sarasota on the west coast. Nice place to live. I lived there for years before going south to Sarasota. But even here, I noticed that the flooding is worse one county down than it is in Manatee County. Okay, so that's Florida. Oregon and Washington, the Pacific Northwest, appeals to people looking for a change of pace. Both areas are known for natural beauty, outdoor lifestyle, and so SDC is also very familiar with that location and can handle with ease a move to either of those places. And like I said, it's very easy when you have all of the components already in place. So whether we're talking about, I'm just talking about popular destinations right now for Californians, whether you're talking about Texas, Arizona, Nevada, Florida, Oregon, Washington, or anywhere else, SDC has everything in place to make those moves stress-free and hassle-free for you. So how does the interstate moving process work? First, it starts out with the free consultation and quote. So it starts with the no obligation consultation. You can go to the website. You can get a free quote there. You can talk to someone on live chat, or you can go and call the toll-free number 877-339-0267. And that's where everything will be assessed, your moving needs, and you can get a detailed quote. Next, you have the packing services. So we have expert packers that use high quality materials to protect all of your belongings. If you want to save some money and do some of the packing yourself, you can do that also. The items are all then loaded onto a modern, well-maintained fleet of moving trucks. All the tracking technology is available for real-time updates. Then, of course, you have the unloading and the setup upon arrival to your new home. The team will unload your belongings and help you set up, ensuring that everything is in place and where it belongs. And then there's also post-move assistance. So if you need some help with unpacking services or the removal of packing materials, that support is there to help you settle in even faster. So you can get a free quote. Like I said, you can head over to the website at www.sdcinternationalshipping.com and check that out. We also have a new article that we wrote there because of the popularity of people moving from California to Texas. We have a comprehensive guide there. Let me just touch on a few of the items for you from this. Everything starts, of course, with creating a moving checklist. And so one of the best things to do to organize yourself is you start by creating a checklist that covers all of the tasks that you're going to need to complete before, during, and after your move. So, and this works the same way with an international move. But what it does is it helps you estimate the volume of items that you have. It helps you plan your budget a little bit better. And then in addition to inventory, you want to outline a timeline with deadlines for all of the tasks that you need to complete during this entire process. And this includes, of course, booking the company, like booking SDC, gathering packing supplies if you're going to do some packing yourself, setting up the utilities in your new home. Early preparation ensures that you're going to have enough time to address any unexpected issues that might arise. And we also have detailed guidance on this on the website. One of the things that everything starts with in a move is deciding what you're going to want to take and what you're going to want to leave behind, because moving is just a great opportunity to declutter your life and to downsize, because the chances are you have a lot of stuff, but maybe you don't want to have a garage sale. I definitely feel you if you're one of those people that you're looking around and you're thinking, well, I'd love to get rid of some of this stuff. You don't want to throw it away. Maybe you don't want to put it in the car and go over to Goodwill, or you tell yourself you're going to do it someday, but you still haven't done it. You look at the garage, you look at your desk, and all of these things just pile up. Well, moving gives you the excuse to do all of the above. It gives you the excuse to give things away. It gives you the inspiration, if you will, to put some things up for sale. Maybe you don't want to deal with necessarily a garage sale on a weekend. Maybe you just want to just bring it all to Goodwill or something like that. Or just put it on the curb and let people take whatever they find valuable. Or you could even go ahead and do a sale, or you could even do it on Facebook or online where you can put things for sale and people can come and get them. So, next, hire a professional moving company, because this is one of the things I can tell you from firsthand experience, having done a long distance interstate move myself. Yes, it's great if you have to save money that you can rent a truck and you can put all of that together. But if you're not used to driving a long distance, if you're not used to maybe like towing a vehicle, I did that myself. And I had people in our departure location help me set everything up who had experience with moving, but they still weren't professionals. And so most of the stuff made it in one piece. But even I remember stopping overnight because we had a 2-day journey. It was like about a 20-hour drive from where we were leaving to where we were going. I just remember little things happening, like the straps popping off of the front wheel, loosening and almost coming off with the car that we were towing. And, we weren't really driving that fast. I think we were doing 55 miles an hour most of the way because we had a long 24-foot truck and the car was on the back. But still, the fact that, one of those straps came off. It wasn't something I was ready for. And so thankfully nothing bad happened, and it was during one of the stops that we noticed that, and then we went and resecured everything again. But when you do things for a living, you're ready for anything because you've been through that process many, many times, and that makes it hassle-free. With us, we had a lot of stress. When you're doing things yourself, everything is on you, so just something to think about. Now, as far as the logistics go, you can compare the cost of moving from California to Texas. The cost of your move will depend on, the distance, the volume of items that you're moving, whatever additional services that are required. But it does give you, again, some peace of mind. Moving during off-peak seasons can also be more affordable, as demand for moving services tends to be a little bit lower. Reducing the volume of items that you're going to move, of course, that will affect the cost of your overall move. Fewer items mean less space and weight, and that translates into lower transportation fees. So, again, reach out to SDC International Shipping. I know some people, you're not into live chat or talking to someone on the phone. You just want to do your research and be left alone. So if that's the case for you, go ahead and use the free moving quote form, and that can be taken care of that way. When you get to a place like Texas, for example, again, I'm using Texas because it's just such a popular destination right now, then you're going to want to make sure that your utilities, that's going to be the top priority. So you want to contact the local providers once you have that location set to make sure the electricity is set up, to make sure the water, the gas, the internet services, some of these services like internet are more important to some people than others. If you're a professional and you do a lot of your work online, then of course that's one of the things you definitely want to make sure you have ready to go and it's ready for you when you get there. Registering your vehicle and updating your driver's license. Most states give you at least 30 days. I think some states give a little bit longer, but you're going to want to update your address with all of the relevant parties, including like banks and insurance companies and the post office. You can forward your mail, and doing all this stuff will help you stay organized, ensuring that nothing is kind of lost in the transition. And so now SDC does offer destination services that can assist you with this. Finding a new home, well, the Texas market right now varies significantly depending on what city that you're going to. You can research neighborhoods that fit your lifestyle and budget. You can hire a local realtor, and they can provide invaluable assistance because they understand the areas. You can explain what your needs are, if schools are important, the quality of schools in the area, and all of that. Now, if you're getting a new location from your company, if you're working for a corporation, they're relocating you from California to Texas, for example, then of course they'll help you with all of that. But if you're just doing it because you're looking for the next chapter in your life or lower cost of living or just a change of scenery, then yeah, you're going to have to do a lot of this stuff yourself. But there's lots and lots of resources available. So, and this is why people are encouraged to use a list so that you can write these things down. Now, what's the Texas culture and lifestyle like? Well, if you're coming from a place like California, for example, Texas, number one, generally has a lower cost of living compared to Florida, which is a significant benefit, which is drawing a lot of people there. The climate in Texas, well, you're going to experience very hot summers, excuse me, mild winters for the most part, and that's a change from California's typically milder weather. Texans overall are known for their hospitality and friendly nature, making it easier for you to engage in your new community. I think Texas is also known as a more conservative state when it comes to things like open carry and the gun laws, of course, much different than California. I experienced that here, moving to even though Florida is not known as the South, Texas is not known as the South either. They don't consider themselves Southerners in Texas. They consider themselves Texans, just like today in Florida. the people consider themselves not Southerners, but Floridians, even though we have a lot of Southerners here. There's a lot of people here from the North. And so, the demographics in the United States have changed a little bit. So when I make statements like Texans are known for their hospitality and friendly nature, I'm making a generalized statement. So they're known also for a lot of community events, and it has the state has a lot going for it. It's a huge state. And somebody once said that you could take the entire population of the world. I heard this from two different sources. It may sound difficult to believe, but they say you can put them shoulder to shoulder, everyone alive in the world today, and still fit them in the state of Texas with extra room available. So do what you want with that information, but there you go. All right, so, talking about moving from California to anywhere else in the country, it may look and feel like a huge task to you, but it's like most other things in life. With the proper planning and the right support, it can be very smooth. Yeah, you're going to have to do a little bit of work. You're going to have to bite the bullet and maybe throw some things out and get organized. But when you're on the other side of that, you're just going to feel so much better. You have a fresh start. Everything looks different. All the junk is gone. Matter of fact, after you listen to this podcast episode, maybe you'll feel a little bit inspired to just look around at all of the junk that you have in your house that you're not using, and maybe just start getting into the habit of keeping up with getting rid of things that you really don't need or don't use anymore. Anyway, I hope you found that helpful. This is Jim. Thanks so much for listening. If you enjoyed this podcast episode, please go ahead, share it with a friend, share it online, social media, wherever. Now, you can share the link to the entire podcast, or you can share a link, if you'd like, to a specific episode. Any sharing at all helps us reach more people, which is our goal. There's just so much noise out there today, but we're just grateful for those of you who listen and those of you who enjoy and share this podcast. Thank you so much. We appreciate it. All right, that's all for today. Enjoy the rest of your day, and I will see you next week. We hope you enjoyed today's episode. Thanks for listening. Whether you're relocating within the country or moving to the other side of the world, we're here to help from start to finish. Connect with us today at 888-779-3962. That's 888-779-3962.